I'll let you handle the show for now.
Now, here we are back by popular demand. Since, you guys out there like the last one that we did, two guys sitting around asking some questions about the trail and everything, we decided to do it again. So we're in lovely Damascus, Virginia.
And I'm staying at the Dancing Bear, and it's kind of creepy. We were gonna do it outside, but it's windy and there's all kinds of noise and traffic, so we decided to take it inside my creepy room here. But the
No, it's
room's
not.
not the room's
Yeah,
not the room's not creepy, but
yeah, the room's
don't
nice.
don't get the wrong idea out there about us being shacked up in the same room.
Yeah, I'm staying over at Crazy Larry's hostel, and yeah, Crazy Larry's a good name for him.
So where do we take? So where do we, or so I wanna, where are we at? Where are we at? We're almost at 500 miles.
Yeah, almost 500 miles.
3 states behind us. Thank God. Um,
So out of those three states, which one? Actually, rate the states 1 through 3. Best to worst.
one's the best. One's the most enjoyable. 2 and 3 are the worst. Well, you can't really separate North Carolina from Tennessee as far as I'm concerned because they just crisscross the border the whole time. So, um, I, I, I think Georgia so far. Georgia had a learning curve. It was like boot camp. It was not easy as I thought it might be. But it was the beginning, so it was kind of like new and enjoyable. I got to tell you, the North Carolina sections busted my ass. The ups and downs, the false peaks, but I mean they also had some of the best views. The Smokies were my worst. I would put the Smokies at third, as for obvious reasons from our past videos with the snowstorms and the weather.
Yeah.
You?
I'll separate Tennessee from North Carolina because of those few days that we had prior to getting in here, where we're going along next to the streams with all the waterfalls and all of that. That was definitely like Tennessee. So I was really happy with that. I thought that was really cool. Um, so yeah, I would say Tennessee right now would be the best, and I'd say Georgia and North Carolina the worst because it seemed like if there was a hilltop, you had to go over the hilltop. You couldn't skirt around it or anything. No, you had to constantly do those what they call pointless ups and downs or puds. That's what it was. It was like at the end of a roller coaster where you get that little crap that's just
Yeah.
annoying.
Except it wasn't a roller coaster; it was a human coaster, powered by your own legs and 40-pound backpack.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I would just get to the point of, especially at the end when I'm almost stopping for the day, I would just look at that constant up and down and just be like, you know what, whatever the trail needs, I don't care. Throw at me whatever you want to throw at me. I'm going to knock it out. I'm just going to push through it.
You notice as you got to the Virginia border, at the end of North Carolina, they kind of eased you out with a good goodbye, where you had pastures and cows and good footing. That was nice. I started to smell Virginia at that point. I hope there's more of that. I hope there's more. I don't know. I know I'm in the Appalachians, but I really enjoy the pastures and the farmland and the.
Yeah, it was cool where you had the AT barn.
Yeah, that was
So
nice.
there's a barn out there. It's got a big, the AT symbol on it, and it's nice open fields. And yes, there's cows out there. So now you're not dodging roots and rocks. You're
Yeah.
dodging cow shit.
If it's good enough for cows, it's good enough for Kafkuba. So I enjoy seeing the cows out there.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun. But I honestly I enjoyed the change of pace with the streams and the rivers and the waterfalls and all of that. It was just a totally different kind of environment than anything I think we've done before.
I find myself blowing off a lot of those side trails with the waterfalls and the fire towers and stuff like that. I just like that's a quarter of a mile I could put towards my day. I don't know
Yeah,
about you, but
yeah. I pick and choose. Some of them, yeah, I'll hit. Other ones, I'm like, why bother? It just all depends how I feel. And there's been a few times where I've had to, because I know there are people behind me, and I needed to get someplace, and I needed to get a good tent site. I'm like, okay, I'm not stopping. I'm pushing forward.
not to get dark now or change the subject, but like one of the questions I had for you is, what do you find most annoying about your first 400 plus miles? and not just from a hiking standpoint, but from a complete experience standpoint.
Yeah, actually, some of the people,
Yeah,
honestly, that's
most of the. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, no, it's actually for me. It was some of the people. So for those of you who don't know, they have these things called shelters. They're three-sided buildings. They're set up. Maybe they're at least one platform. Sometimes they're double platform, and you can sleep in there. So in the Smokies, especially, you have to stay in the shelters or around the shelters. Well, there was one couple that I ran into in the Smokies, just totally inconsiderate of anybody else. They get up before everybody else and they don't whisper, they talk in low tones. It's like we can hear what you're saying. And then they fire up their jet boil to make coffee. And it's like there's people freaking sleeping here, but they didn't care. And I ran into them again at Station 19, that hostel, which it was a big bunkhouse. Same thing there. They were just did their own thing, at night or in the morning, whatever, making noise. They just didn't care.
Yeah, and I concur with that sentiment because that's been my most annoying aspect as well. It's like it's almost as though people think they need to be heard to be validated. It's like, I don't mind. I don't mind people waking up. The jet boil thing doesn't bother me. Shaking your tent out, taking your air mattress down. I don't mind like noise that they have to do to get on the trail. But when they start like in the tent humming and singing,
Yeah, just
and
making noise.
talking tent to tent with each other as
Yeah.
if, hey, listen, everybody wants to hear what we have to say. And it's like when you get to know these people one on one, they're really not bad people. It's like, but can you wake up and have a little solitude in the morning? At night, it doesn't bother me so much because it's like at least it keeps the bears away. But it's like at night, I get it. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's chilling. But does everybody have to scream at the top of their lungs the first thing in the morning? Hey, we're gonna hit the trail. We're going to Damascus at fucking 6:30 in the morning. It's like, oh my
shut
god,
up, man.
have
Just
a little
shut up.
respect for some people. That's been the most annoying aspect.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, have you done any night hiking yet?
No, I'm not a. I can barely see day hiking with these progressive glasses. You? Oh, I know you had the lamp on.
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
videos.
I did some the other morning.
Was that night hiking or was that morning
Well,
hiking?
it was morning, but yeah, the sun wasn't totally up. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Quiet, you mean?
Because I mean you're quiet. I mean you're the only one out there, and you get to see the sunrise in the distance, and it was just beautiful. And the time the animals are active are very early in the morning or later at night when the sun's going down. So if you're going to see something, it would be around that time. But yeah, I just enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
You don't wear glasses or anything like that, or contacts. Oh. So, you asked me, I think in our last video, you asked me what my favorite piece of gear was, and I forgot to mention my phone. I mean, I use my phone for everything, far out,
Yeah.
keeping in contact with family. It's my life supply, really, because even if everything else is going, so I have this OCD thing where the two things I check for like every 3 minutes on a trail are my phone's still there and my rubber band wallet's still there. Do you have any? You want to revisit any of your favorite gear pieces?
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned the phone. The phone is probably one of the most used pieces of gear. Because I mean, I've got it for music. I'll use it for taking pictures, for processing these videos, and for using Gut Hook, which, if you know, the app is actually called Far Out now. It used to be called Gut Hook, but that's our navigation app, and it's if you guys haven't seen it, it's kind of like All Trails, but actually accurate. And if you're doing any big through hikes within the world, or even if you're coming out like section hiking, like the AT or the PCT or something like that, it's a must-have. And I honestly, I don't know what I'd do without it.
I've gotten so obsessed with it that like I find myself looking at it every time a mountain comes up. Oh, how much, it's like how much farther do I have to go? It's like getting to be ridiculous. Instead of just hiking the trail and taking what the trail gives you, I'm like, how many more peaks before I get to the next shelter? And it's like
I've intentionally now a few times not looked at that app until like in the afternoon, because I'm like, okay, great, I've got 4,000 feet of elevation to go today. Okay, well now I've got I start thinking about, oh, I got all these 4,000 feet to climb up. Got to do it anyway. You know, why worry about it? Just
Yeah.
go out and do it.
I guess it's a mental thing for me. It's like, what's in store for me here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look at distance and stuff like that, and towards the end of the day when I'm really getting tired, yeah, I might look at the elevation stuff like that, just to know how much suffering I have to go through.
So, what is your favorite? What is your favorite town, hostel, lodging point been? Where have you really enjoyed your experience the most so far?
As far as hostel, I'm gonna say Laughing Heart Hostel.
Yeah, I this is pretty good too.
Yeah. Well, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I like Crazy Larry's, and we're gonna walk past it. So I got 2 beers left. Might as well drink those on the way back. I mean, Crazy Larry's is fine, but Laughing Heart Hostel, we were up in the lodge, and it's a bed and breakfast. It's beautiful.
We're sophisticated.
Yeah, we're refined like that. It's it's got a Victorian feel to it. And actually, the one night it was you and I and a couple other guys just sitting around bullshitting in front of the fireplace. That was fun.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
I said this in some of my previous videos, but what's great about places like Laughing Heart and here, Dancing Bear in Damascus, is I don't feel like I'm a hostage. It's like I can come into my own space. I can go walk in town and get my own supplies. I don't have anybody micromanaging what it is I can and cannot buy.
Yeah.
So some of those places, I get it. They're trying to make a buck, and they don't want you to buy stuff off site, or they're just on trail, but the cities are off trail. So I get it. I'm not faulting them. I really enjoy this aspect.
Yeah, and some of the towns to get to where you need to go were a real pain in the ass to get there. Irwin was a pain in the ass to get into
That had to
town.
be. Where did we stay in? Where was it? We stayed in Irwin. It was after Laughing Heart.
I stayed. You probably might have stayed at Uncle Johnny's.
Uncle Johnny's, yeah.
Yeah, I stayed at the Mountain Inn.
Yeah, that had to be one of the worst places to go resupply.
Yeah, I ended up walking into town. Well, I ended up walking back from town once, walking into town once, and I got a hitch one time. But it's like 2.5 miles each way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked.
And the options weren't that great either.
Yeah, and it was really weird. I mean, it was Sunday. I know we're in the South. Everything was closed. But even like their outfitter on that Monday didn't open up until like 10 o'clock.
Just something popped into my. I had one of my best bagel and cream cheeses in Franklin. That was Franklin's in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
But I went to Dunkin' Donuts
Yeah,
in Irwin.
Franklin's in North Carolina.
Franklin?
Oh man, it's all running together. Helen was Georgia.
I had to be Georgia.
Might have been Georgia. Yeah.
Well, you can Google it. But so I went to a Dunkin' Donuts in Irwin, and like they never even heard of a bagel. I had this sloppy ass sourdough bacon in it. It was like, oh man.
It's that foreign food.
Just thinking about it, I want to heave. So, what do you got? What's burning you up there, Greg? By the way, it's Greg Morton Outdoors, Kafakuba YouTube. You still going by Cottage?
Yeah, still Cottage.
Words.
Yeah, one thing, and I'll say this is and this will be my last downer thing I'm going to talk about is, I've been disappointed with outfitters, with gear stores. It seems like a lot of them have souvenir stuff, T-shirts and stuff like that, and I just think about like the one small gear store in Colorado Springs. It's a freaking gear store, and you can get all sorts of clothing and packs and whatever you need, basically. But yeah, I've kind of been disappointed with the gear stores.
You know what my favorite resupply store was? In Hot Springs. They had a great selection there for a very small space.
Hot Springs.
Hot Springs, Laughing Heart.
Oh yeah.
They had everything there. They had everything. I thought, and the meals weren't crazy priced. It was a very small space, but it had like the most efficient per square foot amount of supplies.
Station 19 had a lot too. Did you go into their resupply closet? Yeah.
Zero station?
It was down.
Oh, yeah, the one in the back left there.
Yeah, it was back in there, but
It was okay.
yeah, I mean for the space
It was.
that
I
they
mean, it
had
was a
there,
closet, and they had
yeah,
stuff, so that was good.
yeah, I mean it was enough to get you by.
I paid like the prices across the street here in Damascus were outrageous today for. They didn't even have mountain houses. I've been dying for the spaghetti, classic spaghetti with meat sauce, but apparently nobody carries those anymore. Anyway, I digress.
Man, I haven't bought a dehydrated meal. I don't know how long.
I've been trying my ramen bombs for the first time.
No,
Man, they're not terrible, but they're
yeah,
they're not great either.
yeah. Actually, for the next 4 days, I went with Norse sides for dinner. I haven't done the rice sides yet, so doing that. Got some pepperoni. Nothing impressive.
Yeah, I forgot. I usually get Mountain Houses. I forget what the brand I bought was today. It's I got like some kind of green curry.
Okay, yeah.
But it's one of those that have to soak for like 12, 15 minutes. Mountain Houses are like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Twice.
just pour the boiling water and let it sit for a little bit.
Yeah. How do we spice up this conversation? What any injuries any injuries you've had or overcome or
No, I mean, well, I tore my right heel up pretty bad coming out of Gatlinburg, and that was a mixture of new shoes and rain. I couldn't stop and really tape my heel up when I was getting a blister, so it's still got a nice big scab on the back, but it's definitely better. What about you?
well, I had
Anything major?
my IT band syndrome on my left knee has knock on wood apparently resolved, and my right calf, the soleus muscle, was killing me for a day or two, but just massaged it. So my legs, from my top down, it seems to be getting better, but my feet all over. Not just, I wouldn't say there's anything chronic going on yet, but like just every part of my feet have been tired and sore, especially coming into town yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah. So if right now, if you could get transported anywhere in the world off the trail immediately, boom, you're transported there, and you get to go do something, dinner, movie, whatever, what would you do?
I'd be in the Czech Republic for the rest of my leave of absence. actually having a nice time. You?
I don't know. Maybe just back hanging out with the family for a night. I'm boring.
I was gonna say that too, but the way you questioned it was a little more luxurious. I'm not sure my family wants me back.
Yeah, I'd probably go back and hang out with the family there for a night and just kind of, get in the kitchen, do some cooking, play with the pups.
So how does I've had daily moments where I like ready to tap out, but you're here, I'm here. It's been a struggle, but in some ways I hate to be positive on my channel because my channel is anything but positive. But in some ways, I feel like, instead of like day by day, it's like, well, let's see how the next 500 go.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's been a few times where I don't think it was really getting ready to tap out as much as just kind of thinking to myself, okay, well, why am I doing this?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But it's funny because there's been a few times that I've had that happen, and next thing you know, I get to the top of like a climb or something, and it's a beautiful view, and I'm like, all right, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing this. Look at this; it's fantastic, and I think it's cool to get out there and see our freaking country the way most people would never see it.
And that's to that point. It's like I beat myself up for taking zeros. But when you're on the Appalachian Trail, you don't see the country. You see, I got to be honest with you. I've done the Appalachian Trail in the north, and you could put me on a mountain in Georgia, or a mountain in New Hampshire, and I'm not sure I could tell the difference without being able to look down on. Well, I maybe could, but my point is like getting into town and taking that zero and getting to know that aspect is for me getting to know the people and the country a little better.
Yeah, getting to see some of the local stuff and and meet different people on the trail too. and see, you know, what folks are like. Um, but yeah, like, you know, most people, if they go out to see the country, they're going to drive or something. You know, they're going to go from motel to motel and stuff like that. Where I think we're seeing a totally different aspect to it, and especially when you get on some of these trails, and next thing you know, like not that far away, there's that gravestone marker or whatever for that guy's uncle.
Yes, to that point. To that point, I wished I knew a lot more of the history of the trail while I was on it, so that I could be in that moment and like reflect on what had happened here. And that this is my bad, but like, who has time to research every aspect of the Appalachian
Yeah.
Trail or the towns you're going through? But to me, that would add a quality to the hike that, I think I should be doing better at. Is like, what battles were fought here. I saw one plaque. I think it was in Tennessee or North Carolina before. It might have been after. I don't know if it was after Roan Mountain on the way to Little Hump and Hump. But I remember seeing a Revolutionary War
Yeah,
plaque.
yeah, that was right
I
before
mean, I
Little
mean,
Hump.
I mean, these guys were humping around cannons and muskets and
The over mountain men.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm complaining about a 25, 30 pound backpack. It's
Yeah.
like, it gives you a little perspective, I suppose.
And what they're talking about is there's a battle. Geez, it was near cow pens, and it was what they called the over mountain men, because that's how they got there. Is from Tennessee, or what became Tennessee later, going over the mountains so they could go down and fight the loyalists.
Maybe it was a conspiracy theory. Maybe that really never happened.
I doubt it.
Now we're getting dark. So we're at 21 minutes and we got to catch dinner. Is
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Got one last thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what is this? Oh.
A lot of gear I have, like my backpack and my fanny pack and all that, it's made by Chicken Tramper Ultralight Gear, and I'm in a partnership program with them. So before I took off, they said, "Hey, would you be interested in taking some stickers and some of our backpacking wallets with you?" Sure. So what I decided was, every 100 miles I was going to give one out, and I termed this myself. It was exceptional gear for exceptional people. Your YouTube channel is exceptional. The way you present things are exceptional. You're a no bullshit, straight shooter, which can be rare in this community, in the backpacking world, and especially on YouTube. A lot of people are all, unicorns or rainbows, but you lay it out the way it is. So what I want to do is, I've got 2 left. It's your choice, especially you can get rid of that rubber band wallet.
Oh wow.
Which one do you want?
Jeez, wow. Look at this. Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there you go. You get the Chicken Tramper
Jeez,
sticker too.
Jeez. I wished I had some co-sponsors. But that's awesome, Greg. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jeez, I feel
That's actually the same color one that I've got.
I could offer you a beer. I don't have a gift for you because I don't have any fancy sponsors. But that's awesome, really. Thank you. Geez, this is what I always wanted. I gotta be honest with you. I was like, before I left home, I was like, do we have anything besides a rubber band? So I don't have to like. That's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah,
Greg.
you're welcome.
Jeez.
Yeah, and those guys, their gear company is fantastic. I mean, if you guys, you've seen my videos on my channel, I've done reviews of their equipment and everything. I can't say enough about them.
That's really awesome. That's like lighter than a rubber band, even.
Last longer too.
Wow. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You are welcome.
Where are we going for dinner?
What's it? Wicked Chicken.
Wicked Chicken. There's gonna be 45 people there. Probably. We should get moving.
All right.
Hey, thanks, Greg, for the gift. Thanks for the content. And your channel is awesome as well. I encourage everyone to subscribe to Greg Morton Outdoors. And you want to cover like Instagram and Facebook that I'm leaving
Yeah,
out?
same thing. Instagram is just Greg Morton Outdoors.
I still have your GMO sticker in my. I don't have anything big enough to stick it on, so I'm going to save it till I get home and stick it on.
Buy one of those bear canisters.
Yeah.
Stick it on there.
Well, thanks to all our subscribers and viewers, and I hope you found this a little bit entertaining at least. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. That's generous and kind and thoughtful of you.
Well, let's go get dinner.
All right. See you later, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
tuning in.